Nathan, have you ever wondered what cars and trucks are the cleanest and which ones are the dirtiest?
Constantly.
Well, wonder no longer, because today we have a video based on research that the American Council for Energy Efficient Economy has done that outlines the greenest, this is what they're using, and meanest cars for the environment. Now, not just that, but they also talk about how much fuel savings or fuel cost you'll have. So we're going to have two lists. Those cars and trucks that are green and mean, and those that aren't. But you may be wondering, how do they come to these numbers?
That is a good question.
So I'm actually going to read what they said that they used to determine which cars and trucks were clean and which ones weren't. So they said, we analyze automakers' test results for fuel economy and emission as reported by the U.S. Environment Protection Agency and the California Air Resource Board, along with other specifications reported by automakers. We estimate pollution from vehicle manufacturers, from the production and distribution of fuel, and from vehicle tailpipes. But there's more.
Yeah, we count air pollution such as fine particles, nitrogen oxides, hydrocarbons, and other pollutants according to the health problems caused by each pollutant. We then factor in greenhouse gases such as carbon dioxide and combine the emission estimates into a green score that runs on a scale from 0 to 100. The top vehicle this year score a 67. The average is 43, and the worst gas guzzlers score a 17.
Yes, so for all of you people out there who are wondering, is this just based on tailpipe emissions? No, it's based on the production of the vehicle. It's based on particulates. It's based on everything. So shall we get right to it? Shall we start with the cleanest or dirtiest?
I think we should start with the cleanest.
Okay, let's start with that. And you know what? I don't really care about the score. I think we just put them in order from number 12 to number 1.
Yeah, that I think works great.
And here's a little bit of a quiz for all of you car guys and car gals out there, or truck guys and truck gals. There's one brand of car that is missing from both of these lists that I would think should be on it. So at the end, we'll tell you what brand that is. But let's get going with number 12. Nathan, and that is, of course, the Hyundai Ioniq 5. Now, that's an EV. It runs about $41,650, an annual amount of fuel cost, $737.
That is correct. Now, bear in mind that we've had a lot of experience with that vehicle. We've actually driven it coast to coast, and I got to say, it's a decent car. So, good for Hyundai.
And what's interesting is that a lot of these cars you would assume are EVs, but they're not. And you'll see when we go down the list, which is number 11. What's that?
Number 11 is the Toyota Corolla, the gas hybrid version, starting at $23,500. It has an estimated annual fuel cost of $944.
Yeah, and scored a 62 on the green score, but I'm not...
I was wondering, I didn't know if you're going to use that score or not.
I don't know if that tells you a lot.
Yeah.
All right, number 10 on the list, kind of the cousin to the Ioniq 5, the Kia EV6. Of course, that's an EV, starts at about $44,000, $689 annual to run that thing based on how much electricity you're using. Now, let me ask you this, Nathan. Which would you rather have, EV6 or Ioniq 5?
Even though the Ioniq 5 is not as aerodynamic as the EV6, which is why I think the EV6 is slightly more slippery and hence maybe a little bit more efficient, I like the Ioniq 5 packaging and size, and I think it's a good family-size car.
I'd go for the EV6 GT.
Well, yeah, that's not on this list, though. Come on. That's not fair.
We're already doing, the other way you could look at this list, all the boring cars.
I mean, if you say Toyota Corolla, I would have said the GR. Oh, I'll take the Corolla, the GR. I'm sure that's not on this list, at least. All right, the next one is, so speaking of Toyota, a lot of Toyota on here. The Toyota Camry LE. It's the gas hybrid, starting at $28,855. Estimated annual fuel cost of $907. Very good car.
Yes, very good car indeed. Unfortunately, sedans are on their way out, and
they still built 1 million of them last year.
They did. But compared to crossovers, it's certainly going out the back door, not in the front door.
Yeah, they're just not as popular as they used to be.
Sorry, that sounded vaguely sexual.
Okay, so let's continue.
All right, what's number 8, please?
The Hyundai Kona Electric. So this is an EV. Starting price is $34,050 and has an annual estimated fuel cost of $695?
Yeah.
Wow, that is significantly less than the other one. Oh, yeah, that's right. It's electric. Okay.
All right, number 7, the Hyundai Elantra Blue. That's a gas hybrid. $26,250, $864 annual. I mean, the one thing that a lot of these have in common is that, let's face it, they're not the most performance-oriented nor the most fun.
Although there are a lot of them that are gas hybrids, which I think a lot of you guys are cheering for because, let's face it, EVs are kind of fading a little bit in terms of popularity. And there's some interesting things here. And yes, not all of these are Hyundais and Toyotas. There's a couple others coming up.
I bet you they can guess number one. I bet you.
I'm pretty
sure.
But let's continue speaking of Toyotas because the next one is the Toyota RAV4 Prime. This is a plug-in hybrid. And it starts at $43,690. I've never seen one anywhere near that price. Estimated annual fuel cost is $741. You're going to be lucky if you find one of these for under 50 grand.
Yeah, number 5, speaking about not fun, Toyota BZ4X.
I hear they've improved it recently. That's what I hear. God, he's throwing pens at the camera. He's so angry about the BZ4X.
$43,000, which seems like a lot. $689 basically to run that thing for a year. Yeah, you know, it's kind of it's Toyota's first effort at an EV.
It's sort of a compliance car is the way I look at it. I don't think it's terrible in terms of some of its packaging. It's just that it's not competitive for the price. That's kind of my deal. So speaking of that, I'm sorry, you want to go to the next one?
Yeah, number 4. So Tommy was saying that actually he's thinking about buying this one for his fiance because you can lease a Nissan Leaf for something like $79 a month now.
Well, they've recently done a bunch of discounts and rebates with the Nissan Leaf, so you can get them for super cheap. Look,
yeah, $79 a month with nothing down, I think.
They're solid little cars. They just they're not high tech. They're way behind in tech.
And it's the one that's got 150 miles of range, not the
the regular one, not the Plus?
But not the Plus, yeah.
He's getting married. Okay, so the Nissan Leaf is what we're talking about. Starting price is $28,140. That's for the basic one he's talking about, and $741 annual fuel cost. I can back that up by saying that my daughter was running on average between $500 and $700 per year over 3 years for her little Nissan Leaf.
So number 3, I would say by far is the most fun vehicle here because we owned it, and I love this little guy.
That was a fun little car.
This was, yeah. It's impossible to kind of make electric cars. Well, it's not impossible, but it's harder to make them much more fun to drive than their internal combustion counterparts. But this one does it. So what is it? This
is the Mini Cooper SE EV. Starting price of $30,900. Annual fuel cost on this one is $747. Really fun car, very low range.
With a caveat, yeah, 104 miles.
Yeah.
At least the current one.
The current one, but they say they're going to extend that range significantly in the new one, which is coming soon.
Yeah. Number 2, Nathan, is the Lexus RZ 300e. That's the EV RZ. Costs $55,150, $651 a year in fuel cost.
I'm struggling with why that is so much more efficient than the BZ4X. Okay. So that's kind of strange, but whatever. Perhaps they're using higher quality materials. I don't quite get that. Let's go to number 1, shall we?
Yep. Okay. You guessed it, I bet, at this point.
Drum roll.
The car that has always been the poster child for green.
The Toyota Prius Prime SE. So that is a plug-in electric hybrid, or plug-in hybrid, I'm sorry. It is by far one of the best vehicles Toyota's built in years. It is sexy to look at, pretty good handling, very efficient. $32,975 to buy, and annual fuel cost of $529.
Lowest of the bunch.
Really, by far. And in addition to all that, we already know that the Prius is a fairly reliable vehicle based on years and years of use, and we've driven it, and other than the fact that it's like a sports car, so you have to kind of fall into it to drive, really just a great car. One of the best cars of the year.
One problem. Two problems, all right. Made it much sexier than the old one.
Hell yeah.
But because of that low roof line.
Yeah, that's what I'm referring to.
Yeah, it's hard to get in.
You got to fall into it, basically.
And once again, Nathan, just like the Maverick and just like your Santa Cruz, you can't have it all. You can't have fuel efficiency and all-wheel drive. You can only have one or the other.
I have a feeling Toyota's going to work on that, but there's only so much they can pack into a fairly small package. We'll see what they do. There is an all-wheel drive version that we are referring to, which, by the way, I think is a killer deal for an all-wheel drive car that gets good mileage. But speaking of good mileage...
All right, I'm going to get a little political right now. All right? just for a second.
Here we go.
I want all these cars.
Every single car here is not only desirable, but you're going to notice that the numbers correspond quite well with the annual estimated fuel costs.
I would say if you were to put my top 3 vehicles on a list, they would exactly correspond to these top 3.
Do you know we've owned a few of these?
Yes,
we've owned 3 of these, dude.
Yes, we have.
That's awesome.
Oh gosh. So I guess that wasn't political. That was personal.
That's personal. There is. It's interesting. There's something that's missing here. And we'll go over that in just a second. But anyway,
the American Council for Energy Efficient Economy is saying that the annual cost is based on driving 15,000 miles a year.
Mm-hmm. That is correct, and they are looking at how much is being put out through energy plants that are putting energy into electric vehicles too. So that's why there's at least one electric vehicle on this, and I'm sure you guys can guess what it is. We've owned it.
Yes, we have. So before we go down this list, look, there's a lot of misinformation about electric vehicles and about the cost of production, the cost of to the environment, because you have to take into account the cost of making it, how long the thing stays on the road. So it's nice that these guys have used all that in this list, right? It's not just this uses the most fuel, so it's putting out the most hydrocarbons.
There's a lot more to it, which is what we mentioned at the open.
So I do respect that, and I do respect that this is a list that I want, but maybe that says more about what's fun versus what's not fun. But let's get into it.
Yeah.
What's number 12, dude?
The Mercedes-Benz Maybach S680. It's a gas vehicle.
Okay, I could live without this one.
MSRP is $234,300, and its estimated annual fuel cost is $3,031.
Yeah. That's the most expensive car on this list, and I could certainly live without the Maybach.
I don't really. Yeah. The next one I'm a little curious about, because I know for a fact that these are pretty efficient if you drive them right. So that's kind of curious.
That's a really good point. When we had our Hellcat, right?
Yeah.
I drove that to LA and back, and I was averaging 31 mpg.
Right.
And if you're not tearing across the country or cannonballing it or on a racetrack, this next car, because it just has so much torque and at such a low RPM
and low weight,
you're crossing the country, right?
Yeah,
I bet you had 65. This thing's barely turning 1,500.
I'm curious about that, but bear in mind there are other factors I'm sure they're taking into account. Anyway, the next car is the Chevrolet Corvette Z06. According to them, $114,395, and they say it costs $3,169 for the estimated annual fuel cost. I don't necessarily agree with that one. But they did the research. We haven't. This is just based on personal experience.
Look, if you're really bugged by that, there is the E-Ray.
Yeah.
See, there's the E-Ray. Yeah. Corvette is thinking green.
Yeah. No? Okay. I'm
not impressed by the E-Ray. I can't get into the E-Ray.
I can't drive an electric Corvette.
And it's cheaper.
Yeah, it is.
Not as collectible.
This is hurting me right now. Let's continue.
Now we're getting into trucks.
Yes, there are a couple trucks here. Big surprise. Number 10 is the GMC Sierra. Gas, obviously. 37,700. 37,700. How do I say that right? Anyway, almost 38.
Yep, that's how I say it
right. And I'm sorry, I'm a little tongue-tied. They say running cost is $3,069 for estimated annual fuel costs. But what they don't mention here is displacement.
Is it a 6.2? I'm guessing it's
a 6.2. It's got to be the 6.2. That's the only.
And look,
because the 5.3 is really efficient.
I mean, this is the only full-size truck except for. Well, you'll see top 3, but you could say the same thing about the Silverado, I suppose, right? You could say the same thing about the F-150, depending on what engine you put into it.
Sure.
Same thing about the Ram.
Well, yeah, and there's going to be you'll see it in a moment.
Why do they pick out? Why do they?
I'm curious. I really wish that they had added 6.2 or whatever.
I feel like these are not car people.
They may not be
truck people.
They may not be truck people. And for those who are not really truck people, but really desperately want something that looks cool and can go off-road occasionally, number 9 is definitely on your list.
And we owned it.
Yeah, and we owned it, sadly. That was the GMC Hummer EV SUV.
Oh, we own the pickup, sorry.
We own the pickup.
Yeah.
So this is an all-electric vehicle. MSRP is $98,845. I'm sorry, I've never seen one under $100,000. And they say the annual cost is $1,746. Let me tell you, folks, the minute you plug it in, I think it actually starts to suck your life away, on top of the fact that it just drinks electricity. This is one of the most inefficient electric vehicles ever produced. But has big tires,
the
and
pickup truck is worse.
But the big can be worse too, because you can add a spare tire to it.
Hey, so these come on 35s. Mm-hmm. What do you think? What do you think happened to our fuel economy when we upped them to 37s? You think?
I think we should have probably towed a large diesel generator behind us. Is what I think happened when we put those big tires on there. But it looked really cool.
We're going to get so much hate, Nathan.
I know. But look, that's the reality. This is what we went through. By the way, those videos, you are able to see them on TFL Truck and TFL EV. The next one on the list.
This is my favorite car.
It's his favorite car ever.
Well, no, I mean, if I was going to do it, I'd get the squared, but you know.
Okay, yeah, you're right. The Mercedes-Benz G550.
It's a G-Wagon.
It's the G-Wagon. That's a twin turbocharged V8, I believe, right?
It is, yeah.
Okay, all right. It's a starting price of $143,000 and estimated annual fuel cost of $3,186.
So when I was driving that from LA to Colorado on the highway, do you think I was thinking about that when I was looking down on the roofs of Wranglers?
No, you were probably listening to your own exhaust note, which probably sounded really good. German exhaust notes can be good.
I was sharing my own exhaust note with the Wrangler guys and gals.
Every time you hit the accelerator, a penguin dies. It's such a...
We're going to get so much hate.
It's fine. It's fine. I mean, we're just being honest.
Now, this next one...
they don't mention... Now, this is where I was having a problem. This one and the other one, they don't talk about which powertrain they're talking about. I'm guessing it's the big 6.4-liter V8.
Yeah, so we're talking about number 7, the Jeep Grand Wagoneer 4x4, of course. They didn't even make a two-wheel drive. Like I say, these people, there's no two-wheel drive. Is there a two-wheel drive Grand Wagoneer?
You know, I honestly don't know.
I don't know.
There may be a Wagoneer with two-wheel drive. I don't know about the Grand Wagoneer.
So
I think that's standard.
Of course, that's powered by the Hurricane.
Yeah, it is now, but I don't know if when they did this list that they're talking about the big V8. Remember, that was only recently replaced.
I don't know. It doesn't say.
That's the problem. We don't know.
$91,000, $3,000, 58 annual fuel cost, Nathan. And then we go back to another Jeep, which is, of course, one of my favorite cars.
This one's really frustrating to me because it's the Jeep Wrangler 4-door 4x4.
They don't say which one. Is it a Pentastar?
No, and they also don't say whether it's a 392.
Is it the diesel? Is it the Hemi? Which one is it?
Yeah. So according to them, $35,895.
That's not the 392.
No, it's not.
That's a base Willys, dude.
That's the base Willys with possibly a manual transmission. I think that's less expensive still. They say that you can rent it for $3,260 per year. So we're a little bit on edge about this one because there are a few details that are missing from this, and I'm curious to what you guys think. I don't think they're particularly lean even with the Pentastar, but I've seen Tommy's, he's talked to me about his fuel mileage, which was in the 20s, low 20s, unless, of course, you're going off-road. Now, this next one, I am not surprised, but
keep in mind, once again, they're also taking in other factors into account. Mm-hmm. So... Also,
pollutants and everything.
How much it costs to build it.
Yeah.
And, where the source materials come from. All right, what's number 5, please?
Number 5 is...
It's one of your favorites.
I absolutely adore this. I like this one, and I like his baby brother, and that's the Dodge Durango SRT. Now, they didn't mention the Hellcat version in this, and at $74,995, I'm thinking it's just the SRT. Perhaps because the Hellcat version is so limited.
We American Council for Energy Efficient Economy. We have questions.
We have questions. We need you guys to be a little bit more detailed, and we'd be thrilled.
And we would take it more seriously because if you're gonna do this list, we need to know exactly which vehicle you're going.
It would help. They say annually. $3,332. That's got to be low, man. These things swill gas.
I think for you, if you were driving it, add another $1,000 to that.
I'd say it's about $5,000 if I'm driving it.
And what is the cost of fuel? What number?
Yeah, it also depends on where the fuel. I mean, we don't know where it's sourced.
Is it California?
Is it California fuel? I think it might be because they are using the California emissions board and whatnot.
CARB, yeah.
So it's very possible that they're using California, which means it's about $1 more per gallon than it is here in Colorado.
And number 4 is the best sounding vehicle that we ever tested out.
It is probably the best sounding vehicle, period. Yeah. It is just extraordinary, and it is a remarkably wasteful vehicle. I would agree with them, and that is the Cadillac Escalade V. Woo, that thing's a beast. $152,295. MSRP, I'm pretty sure it was a lot higher than that. Anyway, estimated annual fuel cost is $3,388.
I bet you that's before dealer markups.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't seen any of them under 100.
All right, Nathan, we're now down to the top 3 most bad cars, least.
And 2 of which we've owned.
2 of which we've owned, 2 of which I still want, 1 of which I don't.
That's
I think,
really
oh
fun.
God, I think we're going to be on their hit list.
Oh,
yeah, we just put a target on our backs, dude. All right, number 3, one of my favorite cars, trucks actually. What is it, dude?
It's the Ford F-150 Raptor R.
Yeah. That's also wrong. This is so wrong.
There's no way. It's 79,970. No, there's no
109.
way.
Try 109.
Yeah, their MSRP. I think they're thinking some sort of, maybe they're thinking the regular Raptor. That might be the base price for a regular Raptor, which is nowhere near as inefficient.
There's so many mistakes here. I'm thinking this is some intern who just started.
Yeah. Well, the Raptor is the same as the Raptor R. No, it's really not.
It's not.
So the Raptor R is a supercharged V8 as opposed to the regular Raptors, which is a twin turbocharged V6. Very different powertrains. All of them great, but they also have different efficiency levels, I would imagine. So once again, you guys are going to have to get all of your ships in order to make this work. They say annual running cost is $3,777. We've had the Raptor R, and I can tell you that it's never made it back from minor trips with a full tank.
Okay. No, yes, I know. I mean, number 2, Nathan. I've never actually seen this when designated or writing about this vehicle. The word 4x4 added to it because it's just assumed. But of course,
yeah, I don't understand that part.
The Ram 1500 TRX 4x4. You know, it's a 4x4.
Once again, this list, I think they need a little bit of work with this. Call me. I'll help you guys with the terminology.
Once again, the price is a little optimistic. I mean,
when we bought ours was 70.
Yeah, that was a long
71?
time ago.
Yeah,
before COVID.
But I think this might be the base price still, which does undercut the Raptor R.
Because realistically, it's 109.
Yeah, but they say $98,335. Annual running cost, they say, is $3,819. I don't know what planet you guys are on because I don't think it's that cheap. But okay.
You just look at the accelerator and you lose 2 mpg.
Oh, it just sits there. When it's drinking gas when it's actually sitting there, not even idling. But an incredible sounding and really fun truck, right up there with the Raptor R.
And number 1, this is one I don't really care about.
But
it makes me feel good that it's less fuel efficient than the one I do care about, or the other ones that I do care about. So I guess you can always say to yourself, hey, I'm not driving this car, so by driving a G-Wagon squared, I'm actually helping the environment. I could make that argument.
Good luck with that. That's a great yeah. So what we're talking about is the Mercedes-Benz AMG G63.
Oh, it is a G. Never mind. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Oops.
Oh, I didn't see the G.
$184,000, which I disagree with. I think they're $200,000. They say the annual fuel cost is $4,242.
They didn't even think. Hey, they didn't even look at the square. That would have been even worse.
It would have been worse. But I think
my favorite car.
Maybe the little limited production numbers. It could be production numbers. How many are actually built and why they're not measuring certain ones.
So my dream car would be worse than all these, which it would be.
Yeah, it would be.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah, because I don't know what the AMG G63 gets. I'm assuming it's probably in the teens.
On a good day.
On a good day, but maybe not because the squared only uses the V8, the smaller V8, right?
Oh yeah, so it's like a Prius.
It's a turbo V8 versus a supercharged.
It has the aerodynamic qualities of a barn. It's not cutting through the air, and it's lifted, and it has giant tires. Yeah, and portal axles, I believe, right?
And portal axles.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, those are low rolling resistance.
Of course they are. Yeah, it's like a Prius. Okay. So anyway, guys, I'm curious. All kidding aside, what are your thoughts on this?
That was the most fun list we've done this year, Nathan. Yeah.
There's one more thing we have to answer.
Yes, and that is what. Actually, there were 2 vehicle brands. The first one that I noticed was missing was Porsche.
Yes, because they build inefficient vehicles.
Well, they do build a Taycan, and they do.
Knowing Porsche, they're actually going to charge you money for even mentioning their name because everything about Porsche is nickel and dime, as great as they are.
But the brand starts with a T, Nathan.
Mm-hmm. And it ends with an A, and they do lots of things with space. It's Tesla.
Yeah, where's Tesla?
Tesla's not mentioned on this list, which is very interesting considering there's no reason to dodge them based on their sales numbers. Their sales numbers are massive. So are they not efficient enough to be on the efficient list? Obviously, I don't see the Cybertruck on this meanest list, but it hasn't been out very long, so maybe that's why it hasn't been measured yet. So it's very curious to see how that works.
Hey, I just had a thought. So I kind of feel like the American Council for an Energy Efficient Economy has put this list together to try to motivate people to buy more fuel-efficient vehicles. But I kind of feel like they did the exact opposite. They motivated me to buy the most. I mean, they put together a list of the funnest cars and trucks you can buy. It's true.
Yeah, it really is. The most exciting cars are the meanest cars. Big surprise. Although there's the Mini, which is on the green one. We agree it's a really fun car. So this is a commercial for Mini.
Here's another idea, right, for all these struggling YouTubers who are thinking about what car should I invest in. Okay. This is a list of the ones that will get the most clicks.
And the ones that will get the least.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, guys, we really do want to know what your opinion is. So please comment below and let us know. Thank you again to, was it the American Council
for Energy Efficient Economy?
Yeah, we appreciate that. And we will see you next time.
You know what we need to do to balance this out?
Okay.
The Fuel Council, or whatever they're called, whatever green name they gave themselves, right? The oil producers, right? They should do their own list.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So like OPEC?
Yeah. Like they should do their list to balance this out.
Please buy giant sedans and SUVs. Yeah, I'm sure they have their own way of looking at things. Okay, guys, once again, thank you very much for joining us. Comment below. We'll see you next time.
Or maybe they did that list. Maybe they secretly are behind this. We'll see you guys next time. Ciao.